Table one. These motherfuckers playing the same goddamn game again. The same
right.
goddamn table.
Table one, bitches.
Say hey to Charles motherfucking P. Sadler.
Wait, is that Sadler? Sadler, I'll see you tomorrow morning, bitch. Get ready to chug a beer.
All right. This is host reporting from Buckeye Battles. Goodbye.
Hello, YouTube, and hello, Ninth Age community. This is Charles with Everyshade Gaming, and I've got another Ninth Age battle report. Well, with an introduction like that, you know Game 1 at Buckeye Battles is going to be spicy, especially against the legendary Chris Leapley. So let's get right into it, folks. Well, I'm going to take the moment here to go over my Empire of Sonnstahl list for Buckeye Battles. I'll do it at this video, and then I'll just include my list and my opponent's list in the comment section of the video afterwards. I just find that a lot easier. It takes a lot less time. So, Empire of Sonnstahl, 4,500 points Buckeye Battles. Beautiful tournament in sunny Delaware, Ohio. And I am rocking a dragon, as seems very obvious by the latest videos, but this is what I settled on. I took a Martial General, rocking a dragon, using the Obsidian Rock, Lucky Charm, and he is, of course, an Imperial Prince. My BSB Marshal is pretty simple. He's got I think this is actually a typo. He had two Aether icons, a pistol and a halberd. My Wizard Master with Cosmology, that's it. A Wizard Adept on a Pegasus using Alchemy, and he has the Destiny's Call on his light armor, and he's got a Dragon Staff. Then, to round out my character section, I've got a Artificer on a horse with a repeater gun. I have 45 heavy infantry with halberds and the Rending Standard in full command, 40 heavy infantry with spears, full command and the Legion Standard, 19 light infantry with handguns, full command, and the Standard Bearer's got the Marksman Pendant, 3 Knights of the Sun Griffin with lance, full command, 5 riders with brace of pistols, champion repeater pistol, a single cannon, a steam tank, and an Imperial Giant with a giant club. One of the cool things that Buckeye Battles was doing was allowing players to use giants, and I took full advantage of that because the Imperial Giant is pretty good as a support unit. Since this game is so illustrious and was very much talked about the day before on the Friday, the doubles day of Buckeye Battles, there's no coincidence that I and Chris Leapley ended up on Table 1, the premier table to start off Buckeye Battle. So here we are at Table 1, and here's my Empire Sonnstahl army. And as usual, Buckeye Battles Round 1 is always blind deployment, with the breakthrough objective being our objective for this game. As you can see, there's another shot of the illustrious Table 1 that Chris and I are playing on. And we switched sides after the roll-off. I believe I got to pick table side, and I picked this side for whatever reason. They were pretty similar. And then, actually no, my opponent picked the other side because I had the hill. And then, yeah, that was pretty much about it. And unfortunately, you don't get you don't get an advantage if you don't pick table side. It's just a straight roll off where whoever gets to go first. So for my spells, I took Fireball, Unity Divergence, Touch of the Heart, Perception of Strength from Cosmology, and I took Quicksilver Lash and Word of Iron from Alchemy. And here's my deployment. I put my dragon on the far side to see if I could use that hill to keep him safe from the Scorpion and the Trebuchet at the beginning of the game. And then, yeah, I pretty much just had a strong center and kind of left it up to the Steam Tank and the Giant to hold one flank and the riders to do some shenanigans on that flank too. Here's another picture of deployment, and look at that. We pull away the screen, and it's actually looking pretty good. I got really fortunate that my opponent put his Trebuchet and his Scorpion together on that hill. And yeah, I was looking at this and very excited. The only thing I didn't love was the Giant against the Dragon, because my opponent is rocking a Giant. It's that Tree Man. My opponent is playing Kingdom of Equitane. I probably should have said that by now, but and he's got a whole hobbit themed Kingdom of Equitane. So it's a very beautiful and very cool looking army. And his Treebeard model is his knighted giant, which is actually really good against dragons because if it gets the charge, it's strength 8, I think, which is gross. And yeah, don't like that. So, yep, another side to the other side. And I vanguarded my riders up, and then I got to go first. And look at that. Riders were able to get right past 2 of his units and get right in front of his artillery. So I was really excited about that. That made me really giddy. I thought, okay, I shouldn't have any trouble with the rest of this game. I tentatively move up because he does have a lot of bodies. He's a big sort of peasant crusader army with a couple blocks of bows and then a big 60 block of militia and then I think a big 25 block of the Knights Forlorn with like some 9 cavalry there you can send a flank. So lots of blocks. So I was a little tentative with my movement, you could say. Didn't really want to get too close. I toss a fireball at the Scorpion, which is the rockets on the hill, the half pots, the trebuchet, and I do 3 wounds. So I was happy about that. I put Word of Iron up on my dragon just to help. Really, I just didn't want bows to leak too many wounds through. And I tossed Unity Divergence on his big block of militia. And I want to say my opponent saved his dice to stop it, couldn't get it, and we ended up peeling off 15 wounds. So I was pretty excited about that. That was just about a quarter of the unit. So that's a good hit right there. Good hit to start with. We go into the shooting phase, and one of my cannons peels off the Scorpion. So really happy about that. And my riders put 5 wounds on the trebuchet. So equally good. Very good turn 1. Very good start to this game. I did move my giant, I did move my dragon on the hill to see the giant, but kept it. I think I kept it out of his charge range. I didn't even want to let him get the chance. I was a little tight. And here we are. Here comes to the drinking. Yeah, this game should be known for 2 things: the absorbent amount of alcohol drank and the serious smack talk before and during. All in good fun, all in good faith, of course. But highly recommend truly lemonades and truly iced teas to make a truly Arnold Palmer. That's what we got rocking right there. Pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, so yeah, as you can see, we are cracking open the cold ones and we are drinking away. So my opponent on his turn 1, he fails a march block check with his knights, and they can't really go too far forward. And then he just sort of pushes his Peasant Crusader blocks forward, keeps his bows back. He actually turns one of his bows to look at my riders, which I thought was a good idea. And yeah, just doesn't move up all that aggressively either. He's also got a lot of shooting. He's rocking Shamanism and Divination, so he does have a lot of magic too. We go into the shooting phase. He kills 3 light infantry with one of his blocks of bows. He kills 3 riders, and I pass my discipline check. His magic phase was a big flub. And then we go into Empire of Sonnstahl turn 2. I attempt to charge my giant at the Peasant Crusaders on the right, and failed that charge. And I move my steam tank forward into the center. My dragon moves in the center and moves in a way where possibly could charge something, but also just zoning stuff, and then the giant can't see. I've put my Knights of the Sun Griffin on the hill, not too far away from the giant, maybe about 17 or 16 or so. So relatively easy charge for them, but a little bit harder for the giant without that swift stride. And this might be the turn, yeah, this is actually the turn where the night block failed a march block test, so they only kind of went forward 8 inches. And my riders passed their march block, but all they wanted to do was get on the other side of the hill so they couldn't get shot by bows. Oh, you know what I did do with the giant this turn too? Is he originally charged the bow block because they were turned sideways and they were relatively close because they turned to look at the riders on the hill to shoot them. And that block, I want to say, has the Divination Wizard. And so I charged that. It failed its tear, fled, didn't go off the board. Then I redirected into the Peasant Crusaders and failed that charge. Got another Unity Divergence off and killed another boatload of peasants. Finished off the trebuchet with the riders. Very happy about that. And I think I killed a decent chunk of these guys, maybe 7 or so with my handgunner, so I was pretty happy about that, even in a forest. And yeah, this is going into Kingdom Equitane turn 2. He charges his Peasant Crusaders at my Giant and my Steam Tank. I think he attempts this charge here. I pass my terror check, and he fails, so I was really excited about that, because that gives me an opportunity to countercharge, and that's exactly what I want. He does rally his Divination Wizard and the block of Peasant Bowmen. And these guys fail another March block check, so they're just creeping open 8 inches a turn here. And yes, the tower begins. As you can see, we've consumed 7 alcoholic drinks at this point. Those are empty cans, plus I have a full can of booze. It's yeah, it's going to get a little hazy from this point on. So, into turn 2 of the magic phase. Not too much other movement from the KoE player. He gets a swarm of insects off on the cannon, does 4 wounds, so it's pretty good. And then I failed to stop or break the spirit on my knights, unfortunately, which was kind of big, because that basically made me stop, not want to charge. Since DT's on the hill, DT's on the open terrain, I just felt like I'm going to lose a lot, and then I might just lose combat. So, yep, that was a good move there. Went into combat here. He does 3 wounds. I do 6 or so wounds. I think it was a tie combat. Or if he won, he might have won by 1, and I stuck. But I was happy about that. Steam Tank just went mental. Like full grinds, big breath weapon. And then the Peasant block broke. So that was great, because that's going to give me some options this next turn. Which, this is Empire of Sonnstahl turn 3. I charge my Spearmen at the block Peasant Crusaders, and they only flee like 3-4 inches, something really short, which is great, because that gives me an opportunity to countercharge, or to go get them, actually, and go get their points. And I want to say that's about it. I don't charge the knights. You know, he did back up with all his stuff, so it was a little too far for the dragon at that point. So that was my only charge. And I do catch the Peasant Crusaders with the block of Spearmen. And then I just, yeah, as you can see, they barely went anywhere. And the Steam Tank goes to help the Giant get free of the other block of Peasant Crusaders. Yep, right there. So I move the dragon forward to a spot where I'm thinking, okay, can't fail a charge this next turn. Move up my wizard to sort of also provide some support, possibly an additional charge in somewhere, since they are buddies and they like to hang out together. I do know that the big block of peasant levies, their champion has died, so the dragon can just go into that unit and just tear it up at this point. The block of Knights Forlorn is probably a little bit more difficult. I probably need my heavy infantry with halberds to get up there, and they aren't close enough. I moved the Knights of Sungriffin back to, I think, make it about another 16 or 17 inch charge. Their front corner is just on the hill, so they can see, the Giant can see them, but again, it's a little bit far again. I do touch of the heart to remove a wound from the cannon, because 1, it makes it so that I don't lose any points, and 2, it's just a weird flex, to be honest. I go into combat here and smush a bunch of Peasant Crusaders, and they break. I think, or no, maybe they might be holding here. Yeah, I think they looks like they held. Great, good for those Peasant Crusaders. Good job, guys. Then we go into King and Equitane turn 3. The Giant charges here again. Again, I passed my terror test, thankfully, and I believe he fails, so that was great. And yeah, that's about it. The knights are starting to peel away. They're trying to get the breakthrough objective from my opponent. And yeah, that's about it. Really just going to start moving up really aggressively to get into my opponent's backfield. Going to charge. Yeah, it's going to be good. So yep, I charge my Knights of Sun Griffin to the Giant, charge my Dragon into the Peasant Levies, and I'm not sure what the oh, you know what, the Giant must have actually beat. You know, it must have been on my opponent's turn. The Giant did finish off the Peasant Crusaders, and I think this is him actually terror testing the block of archers and the Div Wizard off the board. So that was a nice chunk of points. Obviously freed up those spearmen to move into the deployment zone, score the objective, or probably in this case tie it because my opponent's got one heading forward. And yeah, that's a spoiler, but yes. Yeah, so I put Word of Iron up on the dragon just because this unit does have spears and I don't need him poking too many wounds through. He doesn't poke any through. I don't know why I did that. I'm clearly intoxicated at this point in this part of this game. And turn to face his Knights Forlorn, get a juicy flank charge. The Knights come in and they do 5 wounds to the Giant. Can't quite kill it. I think he does 3 wounds back. Passes his break test. And you know what, folks? My opponent tries to swarm of insects my engineer, who took a wound, I think, coming out of the forest. And he only did 2 wounds and I made 2 armor saves. Really, really strange stuff was going on in this game. As you can see, it's getting really blurry and really hard to tell what was happening at this point of the game. And I believe this is where we start to wrap it up. This is my opponent's turn 5. The Giant dies. Kind of the KOE is getting surrounded, but this is actually the end of the game. We ran out of time, unfortunately. But as you can see, there really wasn't going to be too much left of this. The steam tank has a chance to catch those knights, and the riders actually have a chance to charge them in the rear. The dragon and the halberds are going to the Knights Forlorn with the wizard adept, and they're going to have a great time. Actually, the wizard might have actually gone into the archers to help break them. But yeah, it's going to be brutal. Yeah, the Dragon's just going to be able to have a field day on the Knights Forlorn and the flank. They're not really going to be able to do a lot. They're probably going to kill a lot of halberds, but I think just the combat res from the Dragon is going to be pretty brutal. And yeah, that's the end of the game. This ends up being a 16-4 because we ended up tying on the objective with the spears in the deployment zone and the knights in my deployment zone. And maybe it was even the Knights of the Sun Griffin. I can't. One of those two were in there. I think the Knights of Sun Griffin were in, and the spears were out. But then, yeah, so it ended up tying on the objective. But my opponent got 0. He didn't get any points from me. I just, oh man, like those little things where I was like, the engineer didn't die randomly. The cannon, I just plucked the wound off to keep the cannon from going up half points. Oh, it was so silly. But I only got 25-43 from my opponent because he did have a big chunk of points in his Knights Forlorn, and he had that nice juicy knight unit. So my opponent did hold on to a nice amount of points. Didn't lose his BSB or general, so it ends up being a 16-4. And just a great game. And here's a picture with the Truly Tower, as it became known after this game. And boy, you can just look at that pride. That's something beautiful there, folks. I tell you what.
All right, we got end of game with Mr. Chris Leapley, an excellent dude, a sexy man. This is where we ended. We're ending turn 4 because we drank too much. But hey, we're going to call it even on the objective. And we're going to say it's going to be a good win for the U.S., baby. Capitalism wins. The hobbits are going to have to pay high rents on their apartments. They're going to work in our factories, and we drink a lot of Trulies.
Because that's what hobbits do.